It's a very, very good morning to Linda Duncan. Good morning, Linda.
Morning, Bill. Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Not too bad. Is it raining over there in Croydon?
Drizzling.
Drizzling, yeah.
Drizzling.
I went out to get the paper this morning and it was pouring down. So had to run out and run back very quickly, and then got in the car to come here and I got drowned. And over in Mill Park it's still drizzling, as you said. But that's what spring is all about, isn't it?
Well, we need the spring rain.
Yeah.
You know, we still are a very dry country and going to have a hot summer apparently. So,
yeah.
Looking to think about that, this weather and what is available to use, actually.
And it's a good time to think about putting a new lawn in, isn't it? Getting mud up around the kitchen as well.
It is indeed. It's a great time to put in lawn or to sow any seed of any type, really, if that's what you're fancying. And also Sir Walter Buffalo, which is my nearly go-to at this stage, because it's quite a simple process, and you know how it grows propagatively rather than from seed. So you can just clear a spot, pop down some topsoil. I don't know whether we're allowed product placement, but sea salt topsoil is very good value and it works really well. And just cut a piece. You can cut a strip into a number of pieces and use that through the lawn. I had a lady in a garden club and she managed to Walter her whole entire lawn using 2 pieces.
Wow.
I know, but she was at it about 2 years. But she did it. She established it in an area, then took it from that area, brought it to another area, was very patient. A beautiful lawn usually is a person who's very patient and has a lot of time, and she had patience and time. So,
yeah, I've got that out the back of my back of the house, so the dog can run around on that quite easily. And but I'll preempt something here. The weeds in the lawn this year, I've never seen weeds like I have, and it's been kept up to. With water and mowing and fertilising, but the weeds are so prolific. I just have to get down on my hands and knees because buffalo is a little bit titchy when it comes to putting weed killers on it.
Selective weed killers on it. You have to use a buffalo-friendly weed killer, selective weed killer. Always use a selective weed killer when you're obviously on lawn.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know what a selective weed killer is, but when weed seed emerges, it has it's called a monocot. It has a single seedling leaf.
Mm-hmm.
And when an ordinary broadleaf plant emerges from a seedling, it has 2 leaves. It's a diacot. And selective weed killers, as a rule, only attack diacots. They only attack broadleaves, and they don't touch grass. So that's why you use selective weed killers.
Uh-huh.
They don't go near grass. It's very important. And I still use the same method, and I did it this week, and I hope we have plenty of rain coming, that you get out there and fertilise your garden, because mine's looking green after only just 3 or 4 days. I managed it Wednesday night before Thursday came. We had that lovely warm day, and then I ran out like a lunatic. I used a fairly natural lawn fertiliser, but there's many on the market. I use Mums. I love Mums, but that's me. And I just scattered that all around and let the rain. I knew the rain was coming on Thursday, and boy, did it come. Or Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? Yes, it was Wednesday. Anyway, whichever day. And I came down, thundering down. And it really watered it all in. It's looking lovely.
Oh, beautiful. And
I wandered through my lawn yesterday, and I have to cut it. It's quite tall. You have to bear in mind that you need to keep those tines on your lawnmower high.
Yep.
No, don't scarify the soil. Don't cut it low. Keep it high and regular. So even if it's a headbreaker having to cut the lawn every 2 or 3 weeks, but nonetheless, you encourage that lovely, lush green growth, and that suppresses weeds because it's harder to get in there. And if you cut it very low, you're leaving bare patches, and weed seed will find its way in.
Yeah, exactly.
So now in 2 weeks' time, so this is this week, so next week, not the following week, by the time I chat to you next time, I will hopefully have used some selective weed killer, but only in some areas where my dog doesn't want to go, because I had a careful read about using selective weed killers, and you have to think about your animals.
Yeah.
I do. She's very precious to me, so she likes to eat grass. She's like a cow. Sometimes I'd let Louie and Lola out, and they were like a pair of cows that took into grass. But it's because it does clear there. There's a lot of reasons why dogs do it. We won't talk about that. So only in areas I'm not going to let her out into for, like, I'll keep her well away from it for. I'd probably nearly withhold her for nearly a week and a half, and just use the selective weed killer there. So that's for two weeks. Then I go out, if I need to, with my pieces of buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of the time now, I'm trying to replace the lawn where it's gone patchy, and I've tried using they're called steppables, and they're little tiny plants that you can walk on. And I thought, I'll try these, because it's just an experiment, in truth. But they're lawn covers that you can use. It's like using mint or thyme, but there's a lot of varieties. I'm liking some nice little low-growing ajuga. Apparently ajuga can be a terrible weed, so I hope it takes off and becomes a little weed in my lawn areas where I want to have some plants rather than grass.
Grass, yeah.
It is beautiful, but then I can run over that with the lawnmower. It grows very prostrate, so it's not going to get destroyed by me cutting it with a lawnmower, but it will make a difference in the garden lawn. I do like a bit of variety. I am trying for a cottage garden without watering, which currently is, working grand for me. But last year I did manage to only water the garden twice in the year, so hopefully I can manage it. But it's plant choice and also a lot of mulch.
Oh.
A lot of mulch. But that's not what I was doing. Yesterday I was weeding all the oxalis, because it's preventing, on the one side where it's prolific in my garden, it's preventing a lot of ground covers just taking over a little bit. It's preventing, you can't see some little smaller herbaceous plants coming up. The dahlias are like not loving it. And I was going, what am I going to do about this? So I looked at solarization. So if you have a big oxalis problem and a big bulb problem, or a big weed-infested area, maybe looking at solarization, because we're coming into the time to do it. You do it for about 6 to 8 weeks. Plastic. I'm using some clear plastic. I'm gathering it up. Anyone has any, I just say I'll have a bit of that clear plastic. I'm lucky I work in Bunnings, so we do have a lot of clear plastic. And then I'm pinning it down with weeds, with turf pins. So I'm putting it as close as I can to the soil, but I'm clearing the soil first. So that's what I was getting rid of, all the oxalis. So, and then I'm soaking it. I'm letting it get the rain for the next day or two, and then down it goes. I'm putting down on my days off, I'm putting down some clear plastic with weed pins underneath some of the shrubs that I've cleared back. I had a lot of thought yesterday about being a little bit more proactive in my garden. So right now I'm having terrible trouble with just plants going crazy, and I hadn't cut them back. Some penstemons, I hadn't been firm enough and cut them back. The ones I cut back, they look grand. They're not gone mad, ballistic, but the ones that I didn't are preventing all manner of things popping up, and they've also gone a bit mad. And also I just thought, So I thought I'll start keeping a diary. It's a method. I just thought I'd share it.
You'll forget where you put it.
So what I'm going to do in the diary, it's just a little, I've got it for birthdays actually, but I'm going to use it instead. It's a month calorie calendar, and you can just put the date down. So I'm just going to write down what I should do. So at the end of
the month,
kind of autumn next year, I'm going to write down that I go out and I hedge my
penstemons
really low, because they don't seem to be bothered by the frost, and we didn't get too much bad frost, and stop this, because they really protect the oxalis. And so if I can get it solarized now and then get rid of a lot of that overgrowth, and then the oxalis I might have a bit of happening, because it's weeds are a waste of time.
And
They use all the nutrients in your garden.
yeah, there's no specialist oxalis weed herbicide, is there?
There is one, but I think it actually is called oxalis, but we don't stock it here in Bunnings. I have seen it in the prior times, but
it's not a good
it's very
poison.
hard. When in my garden, it's growing right through all the plants I have, existing plants I have. So it's hard to know what you're frying in the soil or what you're.
Yeah.
You know, when you spray herbicides, and there's a lot of bad press with herbicides. I mean, they have their place. In my lawn, I'm planning to use sulfates. Any sulfate that I can have in the cupboard. I think I mentioned sulfate of ammonia, but it might kill off some of the dandelions because they're coming through fast and furious. Like,
if it's not one, it's the other, isn't it?
yes. Keeps us busy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The weeds keep us busy, and we've had all the rain, and we've had great growth.
Yeah.
But with the great growth and all the rain, there's
everything grows, including the weeds.
Including the weeds really grow well, because that's what they are. They're wonderful growing seeds, and they are good. Some of them are good for, bees, and like when the oxalis was lovely and yellow, it did attract bees. And bees were really cross at me for pulling it, pulling off some of the flower heads. But I just had to, because,
Well, we're talking about the bad things in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
What about keeping your natives fit and healthy? What do you feed them with?
Well, I might have mentioned before sea mungus, the seaweed pellets that are like dynamic lifter. Well, that is fantastic for feeding your natives. Believe it or not, it's very good because they don't need not much pee. But most seaweeds are very high in potash, and you can use a little bit of Charlie Carp. Is always good, I find. Black bone is pretty good too, because it's very nitrogenous, but it hasn't got a great deal of P, so you can use a little bit of that as well. But I just tend to use sea mungus, and it's also health-giving around the garden. Grevilleas are just fighting on at the minute. Now they're coping very well with the oxalis. They're great little.
Yeah, we've got a Banksia in the back garden. The first time it's flowered, and it's been in for about 3 or 4 years, and the first time we've got flowers on it. So hopefully it'll bring the birds back.
Yes, that's what you want. You want the little small birds, not the big. Believe it or not, crows have moved into our neighbourhood.
Ah, yes, yep.
Oh, they're really bad.
Same as us. They're fighting for the space with the Indian miners.
Yeah, they're crashing. They're fighting it on together, but no little birds have a chance. And then cockies are interesting to watch happens with the cockies, but the cockies have they've sharpened their bills on my fence all around. I painted it back earlier in January, and then it's all got big scratches, and I was going, what is doing that? Every single post. But no, cockies. I've seen them now.
Yeah.
They arrive in the garden, and
They terrorise our neighbourhood because some of the trees have got those big nuts on them, and they absolutely flock in and destroy the trees, whether it's native or whether it's
any tree.
Yeah, any tree that's got nuts on it. They'll come in and crack the nuts open and leave all the debris and leave all the leaves, and it's a mess.
They sharpen their beaks on whatever they can, I guess, and they just seem a bit of a destructive, and they make a lot of noise. But I have to say, I do.
Yeah,
they're a most lovely bird. I just see when you see them far away, flying in the sky, and you look down on we have many gullies, especially over your way. It's beautiful. You see that, and you see a flock of cockies flying far away from you. They're lovely. But when they're right up, screeching in your ear.
Now, we've got to get back to the killing isles, as you refer them to, because the war on snails and slugs. Now, you've got some doggies for the backyard. So how do you cope with the slugs and snails with the 2 dogs?
Well, I do use multi-guard, and Louis actually literally put a hole in a box once, so they do survive using multi-guard. Multi-guard is only iron. That's the one we stock, but using an iron only, you'll see them, it doesn't have poison in it, is the best for slugs. But at the same time, it takes time to act. And I have found the old method of running around squishing. sorry.
What, the size 5 treatment?
They put on a special pair of shoes because they're terrible. They're
yucky.
Sorry. Yeah, they're yucky and they're quite to destroy. But also, I use a very thick layer of coffee grounds. And luckily, I love
Oh, yeah.
a very thick layer, about 5 centimetres wide if you can. Do you know what I mean? A good handstand wide that a snail cannot make a bridge over so other ones can get in there. Precious plants, yes, and using, because caffeine is a molluscicide. I know I've said it before, but it does work. It really does work. They avoid it like the plague.
Are the dogs coffee drinkers?
No, they don't care for it at all. They're not worried about it, but it does wash away.
Yep.
We have a lot of cafes around, and they do need to get rid of their grinds. I mean, you can use them in your compost, and I do that with mine as well. But even if you have your own coffee machine at home, just mixing that drip that's at the bottom of the catcher and mixing it with some water and throwing that over your seedlings will work. Now,
oh, right.
Yeah, myself and my daughter finally did do our no-dig bed. I've done a no-dig bed at last, and actually it works really well. I'm amazed at how lovely and rich the soil.
Is she putting flowers or shrubs or veggies?
Veggies. She wants veggies. She's all about, and they're all green veggies that she's used, and some green beans, and mostly spinach and lettuce, green beans, and that's what she's really stuck to there. And I'm doing separately some capsicums and some tomatoes in no-dig beds. Yeah. But I'm using tomato and herb.
Well, it's also a good time to plant your beetroot, celery, carrots, and sweet corn.
And all of the corn. Yeah. Well, we won't be at home for a little while, so we thought we'd leave the corn until after.
Yep.
And see how we go with that. But yeah, exactly. But I'm doing that in a separate bed. So she wanted to plant all of these things and was amazed at how many a few punnets would just spot seedlings, how far it goes. So I said, no, we need another bed now. And I was explaining her the rotation method. So I said, this is our nitrogen-rich bed. And we'll have some flowering potash ones over here, and we'll just do our crop rotation. So I was explaining that to her a little bit. How you have to consider that the plants you're planting and not put and let them follow on from each other. So we're using up the nitrogen depleting now. So next year I'll use that for our tomatoes and our capsicum.
Great.
I'll use the different ones then.
All right,
beans and peas for the next one.
Would you believe we've run out of time?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Secret.
All right, now
you hardly got a word in.
For me, it's a good day because I'm footloose and fancy free. But you've got to turn around and start to work now.
I have to head in and off and go to work. It's grand.
Yeah.
But we have to hunt and gather and garden.
All right, thanks very much, Linda, and we'll talk to you in November.
Yes, keep battling the weeds, everyone.
Yep, bye for now. And geez,
God bless.
The year's gone quick, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. That was Linda Duncan, our resident horticulturalist.